for everyone that just like stacks as hard as possible, has like 5 jobs and has like 100 hours a week jobs, it might actually be better for your Bitcoin stack to slow down for some weird reason.
I agree 100%. And, thanks for sharing that. It's hard to share when you've been vulnerable, and that shows a lot of strength. So kudos, Robin. I had a very similar situation. And I've never been a very anxious type of person, but I had a full on panic attack. And it was horrible. And I felt the same way, even as a physician, and I could intellectualize it and say, okay, I feel like my heart's beating so fast, and I feel like I have chest pain, and I'm in really good shape, from years and years of climbing and Ninja Warrior and all these things. And I was like, okay, I know I'm okay intellectually, but man, I feel so rotten. And it was such a difficult thing. And it was the same thing. I just realized I needed to slow down. And, this is a marathon. And what really is the point of life if you're not really enjoying and having happiness along the way? Okay, so is a chair really going to make a meaningful difference in a Bitcoin amount? I mean, maybe in 2010, it would have been a good idea to sell a chair for like 100 Bitcoin or something. But, it makes less and less of a difference. But I think that part of living a Bitcoin lifestyle and adopting Bitcoin is adopting a low time preference and adopting the freedom from the chains and the yoke of fiat slavery. And that sort of freedom comes with a lot of personal responsibility. How are you going to use that freedom? Well, if you use that, if you put yourself in the same yoke and a different kind of yoke and a different kind of slavery, like a slavery to the religion of Bitcoin, let's say, or to accumulating as much Bitcoin as possible, well, then maybe you're just not being present. You're just living in the future. And that creates so much stress and anxiety. It's good to have goals and, I want to get to 0.1 Bitcoin, or I want to get to 0.5 Bitcoin, or 1 Bitcoin, or 5 Bitcoin, whatever it is. It's good to have those goals. But I think to actively wake up, maybe meditate a little bit, have a coffee, look in the mirror, do an affirmation. Some of these cheesy things really work, and say, I am free. I am living in abundance. I am so lucky. I can go out to eat. What am I going to do to make my life even better? I think I'm going to take 4 or 5 hours off today and go into the mountains and go on a hike. Like hiking in nature and just doing something for yourself is medicine. It's so good for you. And at the end of the day, you're going to live longer, you're going to live happier, you're going to live healthier. And like you said, if you slow down, it's probably going to be better for your Bitcoin stack to be like, I need to slow down, hire other people. Like even those short-term financial hits of hiring someone, it's always just a better idea to be in a more peaceful, relaxed state. That's when our best work happens.
Yeah, it allows you to reflect and do the things that you really want to do. Is that what kind of self-Bitcoinization is all about?
Yeah, thanks. That's a softball, and I appreciate that. Thank you, Robin. Well, yeah. So I mean, self-Bitcoinization for me was a journey. Everybody talks about hyper-Bitcoinization and society, and thinks about how this is going to change the world and how everything's going to improve, and all those things I think are true, and it's wonderful to have hope. And then we think about the technical marvel of Bitcoin, and we think about, you go down all these rabbit holes, like we started talking about. You go deep into rabbit holes, and intellectually, it's very satisfying to understand the world around you and these complex structures that humans make. But I don't think there's enough talk or enough real thoughts about maybe the most important side of Bitcoin, which is the internal, not the external. But with hyper-Bitcoinization, more people have a chance to become self-Bitcoinized, which is really just saying self-actualized. It's more of a modern kind of energy-centric nod to Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, where he said, look, you need to have a roof over your head and you need to have some food on your table before you can think about love. And then you need to have love and you need to have friendships and relationships to be really stable before you can think about enlightenment and self-love and self-actualization. And he did a lot of research about this, and it's all psychology. It's it's kind of softer observational research, but he found that about 1% of society is really self-actualized. And I think that whether you call it self-actualization or becoming an Übermensch, as Nietzsche talked about, that I talk about in the book, or you talk about, Buddhism and enlightenment, I think that the internal benefits of adopting a low time preference, of having your time become more valuable as you move forward through life, which is what Bitcoin does and what technology does. Bitcoin is just technology synergistic, right? It's symbiotic with technology. It is technology itself. It's the money of technology. It's the money of abundance. And I think that focusing inward for me has been such a valuable, healthy path and journey. And so being a healer and being a doctor for the last 20 years, I see people falling apart every day. And more than 50% of it is psychological. People come in, you and I had panic attacks, and probably a lot of people listening, and that's nothing to be ashamed of. It's just a symptom of this crazy life in the hamster wheel, shackled, to money and to production, and our net worth is valued in money, which is insane. So I wrote Self-Bitcoinization partially for selfish reasons, to get my thoughts down and to live the way, to live the philosophies that Bitcoin promotes and brings into reality.
It's really interesting. It's like I feel like I have no studies on that, but I feel like most of the illnesses, and there's a lot of them that probably just like come from genetic or like bad food or like whatever. Oh wait, I quickly check outside. Like
make sure make sure you're good.
Give me a second.
We don't want a wrench attack.
Everything is fine. Sorry, my girlfriend is in the other room and I heard things falling to the floor. And I was like, I better check if nothing hit her head.
That's good that you did that.
Yeah, no, it's yeah. Where did you
I think we were talking about self-Bitcoinization, and you were saying it was really interesting, like to start thinking about focusing inwards, because so much of like the Bitcoin world focuses on hyper Bitcoinization, externalization, and I wrote this kind of as a self-help exercise. One thing I wanted to show is I had this page bookmarked, but like if there's nothing else, like there's this self-help section where there's a SATS journal, like a self-actualization through Satoshi, and I love that. And so this is a daily journal that you can just make photocopies of, everybody should have that for free, obviously. I mean, I'm going to just post it on my socials, or you can post it. And I use that daily, and some days I skip it, but I write down, kind of what I did that day. And there's all sorts of customizable ways to use Bitcoin as a self-help mechanism to just enjoy life and let Bitcoin do its thing, while you focus on your passions and your love of life. And so, balance is really important. And this has been this whole project for me has been like a project of love. Like I need to make a cheaper version because it's like $100 on Amazon. It was really expensive to print, and it's like all full of color photos and the highest quality paper and gold leaf. I mean, so like I need to get like a cheaper version out there so that more people can enjoy or get something out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's super interesting. And journaling, just to circle back quickly on that one, is something every time I did it, it greatly benefited me, but it never sticks. Like I do it it's almost something as an emergency thing. If I feel like there's something off, even if it's the slightest, smallest thing, I start journaling. And then if I feel really good again, like I kind of slack off with journaling, and then I do it again if like something happening. You know what I mean?
I think that's a totally great way to go about it, because journaling is a form of medicine. It's a form of grounding, self-reflection, taking inventory of where you are. And I think it's totally appropriate. If you're having fun, if you're running around like, this is awesome, I'm having a great time, like, don't waste your time journaling. Like, it's not like something you have to do every day. They say everything in moderation, including moderation. It's good to kind of, if you're enjoying your life and you're very happy, then keep doing what you're doing. I think the thing is that most of us get caught. This world, unfortunately, is set up to create stress and to create competition and to create a desire to work and make more money and become wealthy and hoard resources. And I think that's where we get into trouble. And I always love on X or on Instagram when people are sharing their lives. When you think about like the happiest people, they're people like who have no money, who are snowboarding or rock climbing or living in their van, traveling the world. And the more you want more money, the more you get kind of trapped and boxed in. And I went to the Bitcoin conference, and it was, I felt kind of like out of place a little bit. Like I didn't love it. I loved the close relationships, and I love talking with people who I've met online and who are great thinkers and just very interesting people. And so the very good part about the conference was one-on-one, at the bar or over dinner. Actually, my best experiences at any Bitcoin conference have been over dinner with somebody, and talking and just forming a relationship and just enjoying each other's company. But the actual conference and like going to conferences, like, yeah, I learned something here and there, but walking around, there's a little bit of a desperation feel. And so, I think becoming self-actualized and trying to become enlightened, and it's always a practice. It's always something we're pushing towards, staying healthy in mind and body. These things will grant you more serenity and happiness and fulfillment throughout life than any Bitcoin stack will. You could have a huge Bitcoin stack and be very unhappy.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't come from the Bitcoin. The happiness, it comes from what you do with it, I guess.
Yeah, it comes from within. Bitcoin is just a freeing mechanism. It's just a key to opening up your heart and your mind and allowing yourself time to live and enjoy your life. So, that I think that it becomes more and more important as society starts to crumble, because we're seeing crazy things happening right now. I mean, just to take a slight segue, I think that you listen to the political rhetoric. Things are clearly escalating. I mean, the Charlie Kirk assassination and the televised murders, these things are not good for society. They're not good for us as individuals. And I think we're at a real shelling point where, and I say that for Bitcoin, because I think Bitcoin's importance is growing every day. I think it was initially financially really important, and it's become now like something that I think is going to be more critical for every aspect of daily life, and even for safety. I mean, things are like, it's the whole fourth turning thing, and I feel like we're just moving towards a really scary dystopian future. And it's more important than ever to relax and kind of keep a little bit of a distance and keep healthy.
100%. I just wanted to add that from the conferences, I think the best thing on the conferences that you can possibly do is one-on-ones with people.
Yeah.
Like that, like the talks are online, the information about the companies are online. you don't get again knowledge thing. So the two best things I always get from conferences, why I think I'm kind of addicted to it at that point, is meeting with people you otherwise wouldn't meet. So with people that actually like the podcast. So with the guests I already meet. So I actually kind of try to avoid the speaker area, because with them I anyway speak like every single day with on the podcast. I just walk around on the conference, because there are the people that say like, oh, Robin, I watch your show, and I'm like, this is the guy I want to talk with, because this is weirdly enough he's so excited about my work, and we have a weird connection that I don't even know of. Those are the best conversations. It sounds I don't know how it sounds, but it is really an amazing feeling to get in touch with the people that watch you weekly, and you don't even know them. You have no clue about them. And that's the single reason why I go to conferences. If that wouldn't be the case, I would not even go to conferences.
No, that's so funny that you mentioned that, and it's very true. I mean, people are obviously really resonating with your work. I mean, I know I do. That's part of the reason. I come back on your podcast and talk. I mean, you're an intellectual, and the Bitcoiners who really expand our minds. I mean, not even just Bitcoiners. I mean, there's plenty of people who are not even into Bitcoin that help expand our mind, even from the past. I mean, there's lessons to be learned from each other that can improve our lives and really give us like aha moments. And I think that when you meet someone who you resonate with, they're resonating with you, and they're so excited by your work because they generally are thinking about, there's a lot of metacognition, and they're thinking about what you're saying, and they're coming up with their own thoughts. It's like it's a very interactive thing, listening to a podcast where someone is, bringing together a lot of different minds who have slightly different perspectives on this beautiful thing we call reality. And so, you can learn when someone resonates with you. It's not like a one-way street. I think you're identifying that you can really learn a lot from them. And it's interesting. That's been true for me as a physician, as an emergency room doctor for the last 20 years. There are so many patients I learn from. I learn how they deal with catastrophic injuries. I've got so many stories from the emergency department. It's insane, that have shaped me, who I am as a person. And that's a gift from my patients. And so even the patients who, even if there's been friction or problems, there's a lot of opportunity to learn out there if you're open to it.
I think you're the first ever person to call me an intellectual. So thank you for that. Thank you for watching this video. This was only a snippet of the podcast. And if you want to watch the full episode and get all of the context of this episode, you can click right here or here. Oh, maybe also here.